How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews back with a little bit of Drownlands up in this piece in the form of their Soir. Soir? This be a black lager, a Foeder black lager, 5% alcohol by volume. Azaz, Pilsner, and Midnight Wheat in this sucker. So yeah, let's dive in this. Drownlands. I've done a couple of their beers review-wise. I really actually dig the beers they make. A bit of an odd brewery. I've been there. They opened during COVID times. It was actually the last brewery I went to and had a beer in. Well, that's not true. One of the last breweries I went to and had a beer in pretty much like before COVID went bonkers. And they're owned by a person that owned like another brewery, Pine Island Brewing, which is kind of like homebrewed opening a brewery, and he ended up kind of shifting his kind of brewing ethos and hired a brewer and opened up this kind of very kind of cool hip kind of brewery, and they make just completely different beers than he made at his old brewery. I always found that to be very, very bizarre because he's almost like trying to like whitewash scrub the internet of the old brewery. It's a really weird situation. Anyway, they open a new brewery, they hire a brewer, very chic, very cool looking brewery, but their beers definitely pass the smell and taste test. I mean, a lot of their stuff is Foeder based, kind of, drinkable, chuggable beers. They do a lot of big old hazies and stuff like that, but the brewery's beautiful. The beers are quite nice. The only thing I don't like about them for the most part is their price point tends to be a little bit high. But we'll see how this beer drinks, and we'll go from there. This beer is actually courtesy of my boy Keith. Go check him out, 93 Lumber. Spell it out, no numbers. He does the old beer reviews, hangs out, does all kinds of good stuff. If you don't know Keith, yeah, that's weird. Just because we're boys. Label-wise, it's cool. I like it. It's kind of like a more kind of hip version of the pinstriping that Burlington does. Kind of like Burlington pinstriping mashed with like tattoo graphic kind of flash art. Jesus. Stop working with a tattoo shop for 5 years and you forget everything. Anyway, yeah, looks like a black lager. I've talked so much the head has pretty much dissipated completely. Has a rich kind of brownness with mahogany that makes it look black, but it has this nice kind of cool kind of reddish glow at the bottom. And it has that nice kind of malt ball colored head. Let's get a nose. There's a nice, soft, smoky component to this beer, which I really enjoy. It's almost like to the point where it's like Rosh beer level kind of smokiness. So there's a nice, soft chocolate malt. It's not straight up like baker's chocolate, but it's not even close to being semi-sweet or sweet chocolate. Kind of floating between semi-sweet and baker's chocolate. There's a nice soft roastiness to this that comes off very much like a roasted malt, not like a coffee or anything like that, but there's this soft, subtly kind of smoky component to it. Like almost like an extinguished fresh campfire kind of smoke, not like a bologna salami kind of smoke, but you lit a fire and then you put it out immediately to where it doesn't have this kind of ashiness to it, and it's quite nice, man. That smells really nice. If you told me this is like a 5% like smoked black lager, dark lager, I'd be like yeah. Let's just dive in. Cheers. Okay. That smoked component I talk about in the nose. I can talk myself into it being there, but it's not nearly as big as I thought it was going to be based off the nose. That could just be wishful thinking on my part. Let's put it that way. What you have here is a classic. I guess you'd say a Czech dark lager. On this, do they actually call this a Czech dark lager? It doesn't get as bitter as roasty chocolate as I think I would assume a Schwarz beer would get. So I'm kind of leaning into a Czech dark lager. There's a nice bittering component, nothing too aggressive. There's a nice soft kind of chocolate malt, but again, nothing too over the top. It has that cool trick that some of these beers pull, especially the darker lagers, to where it has a super soft, creamy kind of front end, but it finishes quick and clean and snappy, so you get that kind of richness and creaminess of a darker malt base, but it ends up finishing crisp and clean like a lager should, so it's that cool kind of trick they can pull off from time to time. It's delicious. Delicious. I think that creaminess and that softness is probably just a Foeder at play here, adding some roundness and softness to the beer. But it's a great addition to what would be kind of like a more crisper, snappier version of a black lager, but you introduce that Foeder to it, and it just adds that little softness to it. Adds another layer to the beer. It's rich enough to be delectable and like kind of almost desserty to a certain extent, but it drinks like a lager, so it doesn't have that kind of heftiness to it. Very cool, very fun beer, very cool beer. I kind of wish I got that little bit of smoke that I got in the nose and the taste. I don't think it's there in the taste. I think it's more wishful thinking, but it was a cool kind of like, ooh, might have a little bit of smokiness going on, but then that wouldn't be a black lager, so good on them for calling it what it is. This is tasty stuff. Thank you very much, Keith. I like this beer quite a bit. And they do really great beers. Like I said, I've visited a brewery. I think I've been there twice now. The beers they make a bunch of different, like, pale ales, hazies, all that kind of stuff. And they do a lot of these kind of lager, pilsner, Foeder-based stuff. And they're all quite nice. The only problem is your price point you're dealing with these beers. I don't know the price point of this. I'm sure Keith will help me out and kind of write it down below. But I'm going to guess he paid $17 for this. And that's just crazy. 5% dark lager. I don't care if it hit a Foeder and it was kissed by Rosh Beer Jesus or something. That's crazy. That's a crazy price point. I could be wrong. If it's 16, it's still too high. If it's 18, then it's just crazy pants. But I'm guessing 17 on this. And that's kind of where they kind of jumped the shark a little bit for me. It's just the price point. But to go there and actually have a couple beers at the tap room, hang out, it's a beautiful tap room. I implore you to stop by. The Warwick area of New York is one of my favorite areas to go to for beer. You know, you have Tin Barns up there, Rushing Ducks up there, Equilibrium's up there. Eddie's Roadhouse is very close to Warwick. It's not a brewery, it's an eatery, but they got great food there. You have Glenmuir Brewing. You have, there's a ton of different breweries up there, so definitely a fun area to check out, and probably one of the funner breweries to sit around and drink a beer at. Old prison kind of hospital penitentiary thing. Very cool. Anyway, let's cut to the chase here. Is this one of the better dark lagers I've had? It's like, yes. Is it Mount Rushmore status? Probably deserves to be. If it's not in, it's very close to the top. Value and availability, that's what I said, kind of probably jumps the shark. I'm guessing. Actually, no. I got a goddamn computer in front of me. Why don't I use this? You guys don't care. Let's look up the price on this right now. Let's look it up right now. Like I'm not. I don't. It's right here. Anyway, Drownlands. Let's see what they're charging for this sucker. I don't know if Keith actually bought it at. Look at this guy. Beer to go. Twig Soir. $18 a 4-pack. Let's read what they have on here just so you guys know. So, Soir. 5.0 Foeder fermented black lager brewed with floor malted German Pilsner malt and a large supporting cast of darker character malts, including chocolate malt, red rye, dark crystal, and midnight wheat. Hopped solely with Michigan Supersize. And fermented low and slow. After completing the initial fermentation, one of our American oak Foeders, we let the beer lager and oak just long enough to extract those lovely flavors that you've come to enjoy from our Foeder lagers. We then transferred to stainless for an additional lagering period. The result was smooth, complex, and incredibly refreshing. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But $18. It is what it is. And leave you with, if you like what we like this beer, if you like dark lager. I mean, this is a delicious beer. This is an absolutely 100% delicious beer. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. If you like dark lager, you like Foeder lagers, you drink this, you're going to be a happy camper. But it just then comes down to price point. A 5% lager, Foeder otherwise, is kind of a tall order at $18. It's a tall order at $14. It's a tall order at $11. You have to appreciate the time that these breweries take. It's hitting wood, it's hitting a Foeder. You rarely get that from your old school guard kind of breweries. It's lagered, so it takes up tank space. Well, everybody has to deal with that when they're making these kind of lagers, so you understand it. A lot of these breweries can turn and churn a beer in 1 to 2 weeks when it's a ale yeast and make a lot more money, so they have to charge a bit more for these beers in order to make them kind of economically viable. As Michael Douglas would say in Falling Down, to make them work. But you also, I can find a dark lager from a classic brewery that I could buy 2 sixers for what this cost, and probably get a close, if not relatively similar experience. That's the only thing, and I don't think that's an issue for anybody but the brewery, to be honest with you. I mean, people are going to buy this stuff. They're going to drink it, so I don't think they have any issues with the price point on here. If it didn't sell, they wouldn't price it at the price it is. But it's just, I don't know, something about it. High horse over. If you like lagers, you'll like this. There you go. Reviewing the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massif if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully I don't kick my camera anymore. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.